to achieve if we try to follow all of these steps. First, what helps me a lot, especially in the first part of listening, is preview the questions before listening to predict the topic and focus on key information. Once you have the idea of what the topic is going to be, I mean, what is the context of the audio, you will you will focus just in key information. Here, as you can see in the features, predict the topic by reading instructions or questions. It is also a good idea. I mean, you can highlight some words for you to guide you. Use the few seconds before each extract strategically. Here in this part is what I mentioned, that you must highlight the keywords just to have an idea and identify what they are asking. For example, if they are asking for an opinion, a reason or attitude. Well, it is very common, as you know, in different parts of the listening, they ask you for a lot of things. So just be aware of this, okay? And
Okay.
finally, this helps focus your attention on relevant information. As I mentioned before, highlight keywords and try to listen the information that you need, okay? Not all the information, just the most important. The second strategy that I have for you is listen to familiar words. Focus on words you know and infer the meaning from context to understand main ideas. It happens to me that in most of the audios I cannot understand 100% of what they are saying. So that's why I just try to focus my attention on the words that I know and then try to infer the context. The features are the next. Identify words you already know, as I mentioned before, and then use these familiar words as anchors. Okay, inter overall meaning from context. Here's what I'm saying, that you have to, I don't know, sometimes you have to guess because you cannot understand 100% of the audios. Focus on understanding main ideas rather than every word. I know that is pretty difficult try to understand each word. That's why I put this strategy here. And build connections between known vocabulary. Another strategy that I also
Okay.
consider is one of my strength points is practice regularly. Develop listening skills through consistent practice with various accents and speech types. In the Cambridge audios, you can realize that there is not an American accent.
Por
There is
supuesto.
also a British too, and sometimes it is not, I mean, just a man talking, but also a child. And as you know, a child may have a different vocabulary, I mean, could use other words than adults. So that's why you have to get used to each kind of accent. And the features are the next. Listening to 15 minutes story audios regularly. I do that when I'm going to go to bed. So it's very useful sometimes. I mean, you can hear like podcasts, and it helps too. Practice with different accents and speech types, as I mentioned before. Simulate exam conditions with timed practice. Here is very important. As you know, the time is one of the most important parts in B2 exam. So that's why you have to be aware of time. And you have to train yourself with a timer if you got it. So in this way, you will have, I don't know, you will be prepared for the real exam. Develop concentration and time management skills, as I mentioned before, and make it a relaxing habit, even before sleep. As I told you that I almost almost every day I think I do that. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Like
The
habit.
Yeah, the next strategy is identify distractors. As you know, in all the exercises we have a distractor. So it's worth to mention that you have to focus on this kind of things. Yeah, for you to don't lose a lot of time trying to, I don't know, distracting with these things. Listen for keywords that signal important information and guide you to main points. And the features are the next. Focus on signpost words like firstly, however, in conclusion. These keywords signal important information. Yeah, use them to identify main points. Here, I'm trying to say that you'll have to pay close attention to these words because after that, may you have the answer that you need, okay? And helps answer questions more accurately and avoid being missed by irrelevant information. Another tip that I want to share with you today is that listen for synonyms. I know that sometimes this is not accurate because they use a lot of words, not just synonyms, but I don't know, they try to give you another meaning or something like this. But I think it could be work. Yeah, in some cases. I'm not saying that it could work in all of the cases. But yeah, for you to know and practice if you want to, recognize the words in questions may appear as synonyms or paraphrases in the audios. Yeah, that's why I'm referring to paraphrases. Most of the time, it's just paraphrases in audios and not the word that we want to hear. And those are the features. Words in questions won't appear exactly in the audio. That's what I'm saying. Look for synonyms and paraphrases. Paraphrases, I think, well, for me, I don't know if it's for you as well, that are are very difficult to hear. I mean, maybe you think you are hearing the answer, but maybe no. I mean, one word could change the entire paraphrasing, right? Well,
Yeah,
that's what I
there are a
that's what
lot
I
of
have
things
noticed.
that you
Yeah.
have to pay attention.
Yes, very difficult. Okay, expand your vocabulary of synonyms, connect different expressions with similar meanings. Okay, basically paraphrasing. Okay, and the last one, last but not least, listen for structure. Pay attention to how a speaker organizes their thoughts to anticipate information flow. And here the key features are notice how speakers organize their thoughts, identify introduction, main points, and conclusion. Well, that that happens usually, I guess. I don't know if it's an speech or radio program, those have their own structure. So that's why you have to pay close attention to this because in each one of those parts could be your answer. So recognize the flow of information, of course, anticipate where to find a specific answer, and the last one is map the structure mentally to better follow along. So that's the strategies I basically use to try to obtain a good grade. And well, I want to hear you. Tell me, what about yours?
Okay, those were so interesting tips and strategies to develop your skills and get a good grade. And I also prepare some strategies for you, and I want to share them. Okay, here we go. I prepared a mind map with some kind of similar strategies like yours. So let me tell you, okay?
Okay,
The first
thank
one
you.
is listening for specific information. You know that the audios were a little bit tricky and difficult with a British accent, and I don't know, it was difficult to follow the whole audio, and I tried to just pay attention to those important parts that might involve the answer. And when I was listening to an audio, I always tried to concentrate on finding those specific details, and not try to follow every single word because it was very difficult, as I told you. And These specific details may involve numbers, names, keywords, or phrases. About the second strategy that I want to share is pay attention to contrast words. Here I noticed that the speakers in the audios often change of opinion in the middle or at the end of the audio. And here there are key vocabulary keywords. For example, but, however, instead, although, actually, at the end that demonstrate maybe the answer comes after these these words, because before that you maybe have an idea of what were the correct or possible answer, but these words change everything. So this is a little trick. The third is highlight keywords in question and options. I think you said something about this, about have take a few time before the audios start, and I did the same. I try to highlight keywords in everywhere, in options, in questions, to have an idea and predict about the information I might hear, and maybe the vocabulary. The next is watch for changes in tone. Sorry. This is like a savior, because is my last option, because the speaker's tone say a lot of information, because these changes demonstrate that the speakers emphasize some important points, maybe change the topic, or change to another idea of contrast or cause or something like that.
Yeah.
And this is my um, how can I say it? Uh, it's my savior. Okay. And the last is summarize as you listen and visualize the situation. Here, I try to retain and understand the central idea of the audio, and with my own words, I try to put all together in my mind. And meanwhile, I visualize the situation. As a visual learner, I create my scenario, my mental scenario, and maybe in the audio they said about an airport. In my mind come an image of an airport come to my mind, and I try to create a history, and this helped me to reinforce my understanding, and, as I said, my retention of the information. Yeah, I think that those were the strategies that I tried to use. So
Okay, thank you. I've never heard about the watch for changes in tone, but I must say that is pretty interesting though. So thank you so much. I think that with all of those strategies, we're going to do it better the next time.
yeah, we we need to do it better. We need to
Yeah,
do
we
our
hope so.
best.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
thank you, Letty.
Okay, thank you too. It was very useful, the information that you shared with me.
Yeah,
Thank you
very
so much.
interesting. Yeah, have a good night. See ya.
Okay, you too, Anderson. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Huh?